All right, let's dive right into Viktor Frankl's Man's Search for Meaning. Most of you probably know this book. It combines his experiences in the Holocaust with a really unique psychological perspective. Today, we're going to try to really get to the core of his message, see why it's had such a powerful impact on so many people, and most importantly, how it can apply to your life right now.
Yeah, it's interesting. Frankl wasn't just a survivor of the Holocaust. He was also a psychiatrist. And he started to observe these really fascinating differences in how his fellow prisoners reacted to their situation. Some of them just completely gave into despair, but others, facing the exact same horrors, somehow managed to hold on to hope.
So he's in the worst possible place imaginable, surrounded by suffering, and he's analyzing how people cope. What was he trying to figure out from all of that?
Well, the big question that Frankl kept coming back to was this: what makes life worth living, even when we're facing unbelievable suffering? You see, in the concentration camps, he saw humanity pushed to its absolute limits. And from those observations, he learned something really profound about what drives us as humans. It wasn't just about pleasure or power, like some other psychological theories might
So
suggest.
not just that classic survival of the fittest idea.
Exactly. Frankl went deeper than that. He developed this theory called logotherapy. And it's all based on the idea that our primary drive is actually our search for meaning. He truly believed that meaning is what gives us the strength to endure tough times. It allows us to grow, and it's really the key to truly living.
That's a powerful idea, especially given what he went through. But how do we actually find that meaning? Is it this big philosophical quest? I mean, thankfully, most of us aren't facing anything like a concentration camp.
You're right. And Frankl actually provides us with three very specific paths to meaning. And what's really striking is that these paths aren't about achieving these huge goals. They're actually accessible to everyone in everyday life.
Okay, I like where this is going. Tell us about these paths.
All right. The first path is through our work, but not just any work. It's about doing something that creates value, something that contributes your unique talents, whether those talents are big or small. Think of an artist putting their heart and soul into a painting, or a musician getting completely lost in their music. That act of creation, bringing something new into the world, that's where meaning lies.
So even if I'm not writing a symphony or painting a masterpiece, my little creative project still has that kind of impact.
Absolutely. Frankl even observed this in the camps. Prisoners who found little ways to help each other, even something as small as sharing a tiny piece of bread or whispering words of encouragement, they found meaning through those acts of service. It might not have seemed like much in that situation, but it gave them a sense of purpose in a place that felt completely devoid of it.
Yeah, it makes you think about those everyday acts of kindness, like maybe helping a stranger carry something heavy, or just listening to a friend who's going through a tough time. Maybe those things are more powerful than we realize.
Exactly. And that leads us right into the second path to meaning: love. Frankl believed love was the highest form of meaning. When we care for others, when we experience those deep connections, those bonds are what give our lives purpose, and they actually make us more resilient in the face of difficulty.
He wasn't just talking about romantic love, was he?
No, definitely not. He saw love as this much broader force. He saw prisoners clinging to the memories of their loved ones, picturing those reunions, and drawing strength from those bonds. That love gave them a reason to keep going, even when everything seemed hopeless. And it's something you've probably experienced yourself. The power of love to help you through tough times. Maybe it's the support of your family, or the laughter of your friends, even the unconditional love of a pet. These connections nourish our spirit and keep us going.
That makes a lot of sense. But that third path to meaning, the one you mentioned earlier, suffering, that's always been a tough one for me to grasp. How can we possibly find meaning in something that we naturally want to avoid?
It's definitely not about seeking out suffering or glorifying it. It's more about how we react to the pain that inevitably comes our way in life.
Okay, so it's about our response to suffering, not the suffering itself.
Exactly. Frankl's point is that we might not always be able to control what happens to us, but we can control our attitude toward it. He has this really powerful example in the book of a prisoner who found a sense of peace by imagining his suffering as a sacrifice for his family's future. It wasn't about denying the pain. It was about finding a way to frame it, to give it meaning.
So it's about reframing those challenges, finding a way to grow even in the darkest of times.
Exactly. And this is where Frankl's work goes beyond just surviving extreme situations. It provides a framework for how to approach any challenge that life throws at you. Think about a time when you faced a major setback, maybe a job loss or a personal disappointment. You could let it completely crush you. Or you could ask yourself, What can I learn from this? How can I use this experience to become stronger and more resilient?
It's like that saying, what doesn't kill you makes you stronger, but with a more deliberate and almost philosophical approach.
You got it.
Hmm.
It's about recognizing that even in suffering, there's an opportunity for growth and transformation. And Frankl didn't just stop giving us these 3 paths to meaning. He also offered some really concrete advice on how to actually live a more meaningful life.
All right, this is where it gets really practical. What can our listeners take away from all of this to apply to their lives today?
One of the most powerful pieces of advice he gives is to actively seek out your own unique purpose. What are you truly passionate about? What values drive your decisions? What kind of impact do you want to make in your own little corner of the world?
So it's not about waiting for meaning to magically appear. We have to go after it.
Exactly. And it doesn't have to be some huge world-changing thing. It could be as simple as being a supportive parent, a dependable friend, pursuing a hobby that brings you joy. The key is that it gives you a sense of direction, a reason behind your actions and the choices you make.
That makes sense. Going back to what we were talking about before with Frankl's idea of focusing on what we can control, how does that fit into all of this?
That's such an important point. Remember that quote about choosing your attitude in any set of circumstances? It's so powerful because it reminds us that even when we feel powerless, we still have control over our own minds. We always have the power to choose to focus on the positive, to look for opportunities to grow even when things are really hard.
So it's about intentionally shifting our perspective. Instead of dwelling on the negative, we can actively choose to see the potential and possibility in every situation.
Absolutely. Frankl would encourage you to ask yourself, what can I learn from this challenge? How can I use this to become a stronger, more resilient person? It's about actively choosing to frame things in a way that gives you power, even in the face of adversity.
That's a really good reminder. It's easy to fall into that trap of feeling like a victim of our circumstances. But Frankl's work is all about reclaiming our agency, our ability to choose how we respond, even when things feel out of control.
And remember, this isn't about pretending that everything's okay or denying the difficulty of the situation. It's about finding that inner strength, that spark of hope that allows you to keep moving forward, to grow and to find meaning, even in the midst of pain.
Okay, so we've got finding our purpose, focusing on what we can control, and reframing challenges as opportunities. What else can we do to cultivate this sense of meaning in our daily lives? What might we be overlooking?
Well, one thing that Frankl really emphasized, and we touched on it a bit earlier, is the importance of love and connection. He truly believed that caring for others, nurturing our relationships, and feeling a sense of belonging are absolutely essential for us to thrive as human beings.
He even said, love is the ultimate and highest goal to which man can aspire.
Exactly. And it's not just about romantic love. It's about cultivating kindness and compassion in all of our interactions, being a good friend, a helpful neighbor, showing empathy to strangers. These small acts of connection can have a huge impact on your life and the lives of everyone around you. It's really amazing when you think about it. Even in a place like that, surrounded by so much suffering, Frankl could still find these glimmers of hope, these reminders of what truly makes life worth living.
It is. It really shows the power of the human spirit to overcome just about anything. And what's so inspiring about his message is that it's not just about surviving extreme situations. It's a framework for living a more fulfilling life, no matter what challenges you're facing.
It really is.
Yeah?
He gives us a sort of roadmap, tools we can use to navigate through life's ups and downs, to find that sense of purpose even when things feel hopeless.
Exactly. And those tools are surprisingly practical. We talked about finding your purpose, focusing on what you can control, reframing challenges as opportunities for growth, and nurturing those important connections in your life.
Yeah, and it's not just about having some abstract philosophy. It's about actually putting these things into action, making choices that align with your values and the purpose you've discovered.
Exactly. Frankl believed that meaning isn't something that just happens to us. It's something we actively create through our actions, our attitudes, the way we interact with the world.
I think that's a really important point. This has been such an insightful deep dive into man's search for meaning. Frankl's message is truly powerful. Even in the face of unthinkable suffering, the human spirit can find a way to create meaning.
It's a testament to our inner strength and that will to find meaning that we all have inside of us. It's not about ignoring the pain or pretending that everything is okay. It's about finding a way to move forward, to grow, to live a life filled with purpose.
Absolutely.
So to sum it all up, if there's one thing you take away from our deep dive today, it's this. Even in the face of adversity, you have the power to choose how you respond. You have the power to find meaning. And you have the power to live a life that is truly rich with purpose.
That's it. And Frankl could find that meaning in the midst of the horrors of the Holocaust. Just imagine what you can find in your own life. What challenges are you dealing with right now? How can you use Frankl's example to inspire you to find your own meaning and purpose, even in those difficult moments?
That's something to think about.
Keep searching,
Yes.
keep exploring, and as always, keep diving deep.
You know, it's incredible when you think about it. Even in a place like that, a concentration camp, surrounded by so much suffering, Frankl could still find these little glimmers of hope, these powerful reminders of what makes life worth living. Yeah, it really is remarkable. It speaks to the resilience of the human spirit to overcome pretty much anything. And what I find so inspiring about his message is that it's not just about surviving extreme situations like the Holocaust. It's a framework for living a more meaningful life no matter what challenges you're facing right now.
Yeah, it's like he gives us this roadmap, these practical tools that we can all use to navigate the ups and downs of life and to find that sense of purpose, even when things feel really tough.
Exactly. And those tools are so simple, but so powerful. We talked about identifying your unique purpose, focusing on what you can control, reframing challenges as opportunities for growth, and nurturing those loving connections in your life.
Right. And it's not about just having some abstract philosophy or belief system. It's about taking action, making choices that align with your values and with that purpose that you've uncovered.
I think that's key. Frankl really believed that meaning isn't something that just falls into our laps. It's something that we create through our actions, through our attitudes, and through our interactions with the world around us.
Exactly. And, this deep dive has been so insightful. Frankl's message really resonates with me. It's that idea that even in the face of unimaginable suffering, the human spirit can find a way to create meaning.
Yeah, it's a testament to our inner strength, to that power of the human will to find meaning. It's not about ignoring the pain or pretending that everything's fine. It's about finding a way to move forward, to grow, and to live a life that's full of purpose.
That's it in a nutshell.
So if you take away just one thing from our deep dive into man's search for meaning today, let it be this. Even in the face of adversity, you always have the power to choose how you respond. You have the power to find meaning, and you have the power to live a life that's truly rich with purpose.
You can say better myself.
Yeah.
And, if Frankl could find that meaning in the midst of the horrors of the Holocaust, just imagine what's possible for you in your own life. What challenges are you facing right now? How can you use Frankl's example as inspiration to find your own meaning and purpose, even in those difficult moments? It's something worth thinking about.
Absolutely. Keep searching, keep exploring, keep diving deep.